hope? What if all hope has gone? What happens when a situation is completely hopeless? I was in northern Mozambique a few years ago and I met a guy called Armando. And he shared his story, and it's probably the most hopeless story I've ever heard. We were there in Pemba and visiting the hospital. It didn't look like a hospital does in our country. It had bare concrete walls, iron beds. Some patients were lying on mattresses on the floor. There was very little in the way of medical equipment. I rarely saw a nurse or a doctor. And there in the children's area or ward, I met Armando. He was there and his little daughter, maybe 5 or 6 years old, was in the bed by where he was standing. She contracted malaria and was very, very ill. Every year in Africa, tens of thousands of people die from malaria. And it wasn't looking good. Armando lived in a village some hours north of Pemba and had to travel to the hospital and had to give up his job. There was no job security. If you couldn't come to work, you had no work. And with an unemployment rate somewhere around 65 to 70%, there's little chance of him going back and getting another job. And not only that, but there by the bedside, he had in his arms his baby boy, who was 6 months old. His wife had died giving birth to that baby boy. And I remember standing there, and we'd gone in to pray, to talk, to be friends with the people in there, and I could not think of anything to say. Your daughter's dying. Your wife died, giving birth to your baby son. You have no job to go back to and no prospect of any work. I had no words. And yet through tears in Armando's eyes, I saw something. I saw a flame of hope. And he said to me, Matthew, I'm just so thankful that I have Jesus. For us in the West, that just doesn't make any sense, or it can feel like some sort of appeasement or vain hope. And yet for this guy, it was sure and it was real. He was saying to me, Matthew, I know the author of life. Matthew, I know the creator of all things. He is what my life is about, and he is my hope. What if hope has very little to do with the things around us and the stuff? What if actually, without Jesus, there is no hope? There's only a prolonging or a few more things or some other stuff. Armando challenged me about where I place my hope, where I find real hope, hope that never changes, hope that stretches beyond my horizon, hope that is a life lived for Jesus, hope that sets me free. And for us today in Highworth and in the UK, we need to know hope like never before. We need to know a hope that is a living hope, that is a life in us, that touches our hearts and our minds, that gives us purpose beyond. A hope that is a person, it's Jesus. If you'd like to know more about Jesus, you only have to ask. And you can ask right where you are. He knows you, knows everything about you. Following him is not for certain people, not for people with this background or that. It's not for the rich or the poor. It's for anyone who says yes. And I pray for you today that, like Armando, whether things are going well or things fall apart, there will be a fire in your eyes of a hope that nothing can take away. The hope of Jesus Christ. May God bless you today.